Hello guys, welcome to automationtalks.com. Today I'm going to talk on one of the most confusing topic question about Selenium WebDriver, which is what happens if I combine implicit wait and explicit wait together. Okay, so let's go ahead and see practically what happens when we combine implicit wait and explicit wait together. Okay, so before that, lot of things I read on internet about, like if I have, let us say, implicit wait of 10 second and explicit wait of 15 second, then I most of the places I read something like, okay, it will take something like 10 plus 15 is equal to, it should take total in 25 second of time. Okay, but that's not true basically. Okay, so what is the truth? We'll see today and we'll demonstrate it practically. Okay, so before I jump, let's go to the Selenium HQ, the documentation of Selenium basically, and we'll see what it says here. So about mixing implicit wait and explicit waits, okay, what the documentation says, doing so can cause unpredictable wait times. Okay, for example, setting an implicit wait of 10 seconds and explicit wait of 15 seconds could cause you the timeout after 20 seconds. Okay, so they are saying, like, if you have a 10 second of implicit timeout plus 15 second of explicit timeout, then in total it could cause you around 20 plus second approx. Okay, that's what it is saying. Okay, it's not exactly like, okay, it should take 10 plus 15 is equal to, it should take exactly 15 seconds. Okay, so basically the document is not saying clearly, okay, why it should be 20 seconds. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the practical first. Okay, and then I'll explain it. Now let me jump to Eclipse. Okay, so in Eclipse I have this structure ready. Basically I'm launching the Chrome browser. Okay, and here in my test, let me navigate to some website. Okay, I can go to automationtalks.com. Fine. Okay, and then what I want to do is, basically, let me add implicit timeout. Okay, so how to add implicit timeout is driver dot manage dot timeout dot implicitly wait for, how much long you want to wait for? You want to wait for 10 seconds, let us say. Okay, so now I have added implicit wait. Fine. Now, okay, so before I go ahead and talk about this, let's make clear about implicit wait and explicit wait. So implicit wait is about, once I define implicit wait, so I define implicit wait something like this: driver.manage.timeout.implicitly wait, so that it will be applicable to the complete life of the driver which I am defining over here. So I am defining the life of driver here. Driver is equal to new Chrome driver. So once I define something like this, driver.manage.timeout, it would be applicable, so that this 10 second will be applicable throughout the life of driver. That's what your implicit wait is, and it will be applicable to all the web elements wherever we do driver.find element or driver.find web elements. Fine. Now what is explicit wait? Explicit wait is something like, let us say, if some of the control is basically taking longer than expected, and if you just want to wait for that particular control for some extra amount of time sorry, then basically you will go for explicit wait. Okay, now let's see. So now what I want to do is, basically I want to throw out an exception. Okay, so I'm taking the element which is not present on my particular web page. Okay, so I'm taking like driver dot find element by id, and I'm giving some any id. Okay, so let us say I'm giving some id like triple T, which is not present. Okay, and I give something like click on it. Fine. Okay, now after I navigate, let me start my timer. Okay, so I'm going to start the timer. Okay, so I'm going to use something like long start time is equal to system dot time in current millisecond. Fine, this would give me start time. Now I want to find out end time, so I would get end time in my after method, like because my test case will fail over here and I want to get it in after method. Fine, so I will use again long end time is equal to system dot let me copy same and this would be my end time. Fine, now I got my start time and I got my end time. Now how I can find the difference? So I can find difference like I can take it as time taken is equal to my end time minus start time. Okay, so I should define it on the top so that it would be on the scope. Fine, and let me print that. Total time taken fine, so this would basically print total time taken. Now let us come to the exact situation. So I have given the implicit timeout, okay, and I'm trying to find out if my web element I'm trying to click on the web element which is not present over here, right? So let's go ahead and run this specific situation. Okay, so here in this case I do not have explicit wait, so in this case I should see only 10 seconds, right, because my implicit wait is 10 seconds. Okay, so you can see it has printed the time taken. Basically the exception is thrown because the element is not present, right? It is saying no such element, that's fine, and it is saying time taken is 10,000 millisecond, right? So 10 second approx, which is my implicit wait. Now let us say, okay, to find out this element, okay, what I want to use is I want to use explicit wait. Okay, so how we use explicit wait? We use something like WebDriver wait. WebDriver wait is equal to new WebDriver wait driver and time unit. Sorry, it would be my let us say 15 seconds. So I have defined now WebDriver wait, which is my explicit wait. And here on the top it is my implicit wait. Fine, now let us apply explicit wait to this particular situation. So how we do that? Wait dot, we use something like until and then we use expected conditions dot, okay, and what I can do, I can do something like presence of presence of element located by, and I'm trying to do it, find out it by ID, and my ID is triple T, which is not present, and then I'm trying to click on it, right? So now here basically I'm trying to combine two things. First, I'm waiting for 10 seconds, which is implicit wait, okay, and then I know that this particular web element is not present, so it will throw an exception. I'm interested in that exception only, right? I just want to measure the time. So this particular element is not present, so for this particular web element I have applied explicit wait, which is of 15 seconds. Okay, now let's check and find out what is the total time taken. So it should take more time than the earlier one, because in this case we are mixing two things, implicit wait and explicit wait, which is 10 second and 15 second. Okay, and this time if you notice the time taken, okay, what we have printed here, can you see total time taken is 20,781 millisecond, that is 20 second approx. Okay, and that's what the documentation says over here. It takes about 20 second, right, not 25 second. Okay, okay, and now for the sake, let us disable this implicit wait and just keep explicit wait. Let's check what happens. So in this case it should wait only for 15 seconds. That's obvious, right? Let's wait. Okay, and you see it has taken total time of give me a second, it is 15 seconds, right? That is obvious. But our situation is when we have implicit wait and explicit wait, we notice that it is taking 20 seconds, right? Now let us try and explain why it has taken 20 seconds only, not why not 25 seconds. Okay, before that, okay, so we have two things over here, right? Implicit wait, which is globally applied, right, which is globally applied. When I say globally, that means throughout the life of the driver. Fine. And the second thing which we have is explicit wait, which is local to the method, right? And we know in Java or in case of any programming language, the first preference is given to local, right? The first preference is given to local. Excuse me. In this case as well, this explicit wait, which is local to my particular condition, will get first preference, and that is why we are getting 20 seconds as the result. Okay, let's see how. So let me go to paint. Okay, so we have two things. So the very first one is give me a second, we have implicit wait of 10 seconds, and we have explicit wait of 15 seconds. Fine. Now what happens whenever the element is not found? Okay, so let's take a condition where my web element is not present. Okay, so let's take at the very first level, very first instance, my element is not present. So very first time what will happen is, as I said, my explicit wait is local, right? So what will happen is explicit wait should get invoked, right? So at the very first, my explicit wait will get invoked, right? And explicit wait will get invoked, and it does the polling at every 500 millisecond, right? So it will get invoked and it will start polling every 500 millisecond. Now let us say 500 millisecond is elapsed. Now what will happen is 500 millisecond is elapsed, and in my code what I am trying to do is I am trying to find out it by ID with the help of this driver, right? And to this particular driver I have already applied implicit wait, right? That means once my explicit wait came into the picture and it has started polling after 500 millisecond, it will go to this particular web element. It will try and find out which is with this particular driver which already have implicit wait of 10 seconds, right? So in this case my implicit wait will come into picture now. Implicit wait of 10 seconds will come into picture now, right? Now even after this 10 second, now implicit wait will come into picture, and Selenium will wait for this much amount of time and it will check if the element is present, right? Now since the element is not existing at all, okay, even after waiting for this 10 second, my element is not present. Fine. Now what will happen if element is still not present? What has happened till now? So how much is the total time taken? So total time taken is 10 second plus 500 millisecond, that is almost 10.5 second, right? 10.5 second, which is obviously less than 15 second, which is my explicit timeout, right? What is explicit timeout? I have defined in my code, I have defined it as a 15 second, right? And what is the time total taken till now is 10.5 second, right? So what will happen is, because this condition is not getting satisfied, okay, my explicit wait will come into picture again and it will invoke my implicit wait again, right? Implicit wait of 10 second, right? Because as soon as the explicit wait starts polling, it will ultimately call my driver via this wait, right? And driver has implicit wait of 10 second, right? So it will again gets into implicit wait of 10 second, right? Now in this case, how much is the time total taken? Now in this case, total time taken is, my earlier was 10.5 plus 10, right? And how much it is? It is 20.5 second, and which is now greater than 15 second, which is my explicit wait, right? Now since the condition is not satisfying here, right, since the time is already getting crossed, I should wait for only 15 second as per my explicit wait, but this time is getting crossed now, right? So that's the reason now after executing the condition for 20 second, now it will throw the exception finally, right? And that's the reason I got the timeout as 20 second, right? When I have implicit wait and explicit wait both in picture, if you have noticed earlier, I had got total time taken as 20.8 something, right? That 300 millisecond we can take a network delay or something like that, right? But the total time taken was 20.50, right? And how we got it? Because we have implicit wait of 10 second, explicit wait of 15 second. Now let me talk it on again. Element is not present at a very first level, so as I said, explicit wait is my local, right? And implicit wait is global. So at the initial stage, my explicit wait will start. And how your explicit wait works, it does polling at every 500 millisecond by default, right? In fluent wait, we do set the polling timeout, polling time basically, right? But in explicit wait, it does polling at every 500 millisecond, right? So initially it will invoke explicit wait, and in 500 millisecond it will do the polling, right? And as soon as it does the polling, what will happen is Selenium will try to look out for this particular condition with the help of this driver, but this driver already have implicit wait of 10 second. So for this particular 10 second, my Selenium will wait, right? And after waiting for this 10 second as well, element is not present. So what is total time taken is 10 second plus 500 for my polling, it is total 10.5 second, right? But it is still less than my implicit wait, right? When implicit wait will throw the exception if the time is crossed, right? In this case, the time is not getting crossed, it is still less. So it will again invoke the explicit wait. Again, after 500 millisecond, it will start polling, okay, and it will again invoke my implicit wait, okay. Even I could add 500 second over here, 500 millisecond basically for explicit wait, right? And then my implicit wait will get invoked again for 10 second. Now in this case, it will come across around 10.5, which was my earlier one, plus 10, which is the current implicit wait, and it is equal to 20.5, 5 second, which is now greater than 15 second, which is my explicit wait. So the time is already crossed, which was set for explicit wait, and now my exception will get thrown, right? So this is how basically I get this 20 second time exception after 20 second when I am using implicit wait for 10 second and explicit wait for 15 second, right? So it is not coming to 25, 10 plus 25, it is coming to 20, right? 21 approx, okay, we can say. So let it run. Okay, and you can see it has taken total time of 20 second here. It has taken total time 20 second, 710 milliseconds, something like that, right? So approx it is taking 20 second or 21 second, right? Not the addition of both, right? So it works on this particular sequence, right? By assuming explicit wait is local to particular condition and implicit wait is global, right? So that's how basically this particular thing works when we use implicit wait and explicit wait together in Selenium WebDriver, right? Now I hope this concepts get very much clear, right? So it is not just the addition, it works in the sequence which I have explained, right? Now I hope you shouldn't have any question in your mind. If you have, please drop it in a comment. I would be happy to answer. Thank you.